sec. It's gonna go. Nick's working on it right now. But we'll start with that question, so that way this will be hell yeah, dude. Are you letting Lucy have something to drink? Are you good?
I'm good. I don't want to drink too much because I'm gonna do pee halfway through this. If I do.
That's okay.
Yeah, how to get recruited. It's funny. I was sitting in physics, and I just got recruited like normal people get recruited. And I was thinking,
Emily Phillips shows up to a class and I'm like, who's this?
Class, and she does the whole presentation. And I think, sounds pretty good. I don't know. And I get the call a couple days later. She invites me to it, and I'm like, okay, great. And I talked to my actually, my fraternity, and he's like, oh yeah, I've heard of that. Now, don't go, stupid. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'm excited. And then I thought, well, I told her I'd show up, so I showed up because I told her I showed up. And then I show up. And then the whole time I'm there, I'm like, oh my gosh, this sounds so familiar. This sounds like something my parents told me about when I grew up.
No way.
All the way through. And at the end, I'm talking about it. I was excited for myself to do it. But I remember that. And I called my dad after my first interview. And I said, hey, Dad, you remember that thing you did in college where you sold books door to door? You told us about? He's like, yeah. I'm like, was that Southwestern? He's like, yeah. I'm being recruited for it right now. He's like, no way.
They're still around?
Yeah, it was just crazy. And he told me, he's like, I've never considered what would I do if one of my kids actually wanted to do this. This was the hardest thing I've ever done with my life. And then he said, I think you could do it and do it well. So that gave me the confidence to keep going through the interview process.
Wow.
Which is really, yeah. And then so I interviewed the whole time with Ben Kessler.
Shout out to Ben.
Yeah. And then so in my second interview, I really got that I'm an asshole. In my whole life, I think I'm just better than everyone. And I really wanted to do this because I thought it was an opportunity for me to be humbled, be kicked into the dirt, and actually get humbled in life. So I went into my third interview on my hands and knees begging them to take me. Because I had a ton of things I wanted to do instead, like study abroad, doing an engineering internship, all these things that were bigger that I thought more important until I realized that I'm an asshole, arrogant asshole, and I thought I have to do this. Because if I don't do this, that's the most selfish thing I can do because I'm not the one who deals with all the repercussions of that. It's everyone I meet in my life. So I started interview, shook hands with Ben. He's like, okay, cool. So Emily Phillips here is going to be training. I'm like, what? I was like, what the hell? I felt scammed.
Damn.
So all the way through the interview, all the way through the training, I hated Emily. Hated her. Because here's the thing, she was training me on things that I thought were common knowledge. I didn't know that normal people don't get this shit when they're growing up.
Right.
Yeah, because to you, your parents have been telling you that attitude and all the time.
And
your dad's like, did you were 2 and your dad was like, did you get 30 demos today? And you were like, I think so. I don't know what that means. That's
exactly,
awesome.
Yeah, because my dad and then my mom sold, and my dad recruited my mom. So reason got married.
Oh, wow.
Oh, shit. We need to talk to your parents after this episode, too.
No, they're not together anymore.
Shit.
Oh, man.
Okay. Hang on. So hold on. So then you went to your mom. You said your dad recruited your mom.
Yeah.
And then they got married. Damn.
Well, my dad did 3 summers, my mom did 2. And and then they got married not long after they left. And my mom's told me many times she felt like the second that she said I do, she lost, freedom, and she didn't, she was kind of trapped. It was only the marriage was just kind of a look good, and check the box, got married, great. Kind of thing.
A lot of life lessons in that relationship, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hold on. So then Emily trains you, and this is what part of the semester? Is this early on, or is this just before school?
Well, this is all the way because I was recruited in October.
Okay. So you had a lot of time to train.
A lot of time.
Okay, and then you went out and sold. Now, okay, we should pause here because we're live. We gotta introduce you real quick.
Yeah.
Nick,
Yeah,
Nick,
we good.
Nick, go ahead, please.
All right. So everybody, welcome to Ponytails Podcast, episode number 10, where we have Anthony Conroy from Oklahoma, staying there in Norman. Go Sooners, whatever. They're my favorite Big 12 team since Nebraska, Go Big Red, left. But more on that a totally different time. Anthony sold from 2017 through 2019. 2017 was a number 7 first year. And then top experience the next summer, and then that third summer we'll get to this. But this guy had a stroke while knocking on doors. So that's definitely a unique experience that not everybody has, especially at a young age, you know. So we definitely love to hear some details about that. But yeah, right now we're talking about how he was brought into the business, some alumni parents, that he was just recruited through a class survey, and just kind of happened into it and was like, oh yeah, I guess my parents did this, I'll do this. And here we are now. So yeah, what do you think, Andre? Should we talk about the stroke now, or should we save that for later?
I think we'll save that for just a second.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about, so you were a study, had a 300 plus unit day. You're pretty good at selling books, and that's cool. That is important as from a standpoint of like showing someone's discipline and hard work. So hell yeah, there's your president's club. That's right. That's a testament to someone who busts their ass. So good for you. That's a praise for sure. Okay, so walk me through then. So at this point, you're going through, because you got to understand where my perspective is. I got recruited Wednesday before finals week, and I didn't know anything about Southwestern. So like your experience going into sales school, going into your first summer is a completely different thing. And especially with parents, I'm not familiar with that. Talk to me about like when you were going in, as you met like other first years, and like, did you know you were going to go number 7? Were you shooting for number 1? Was it a surprise that you did that, or how did that go?
I was not shooting for number 1. I was shooting for top 10, because I knew the people who were like, I'm gonna be number 1, or they never did. But I remember the very first person I approached, get this, you're gonna love this, was Weston. Love Weston. And I thought in my head, like, wow, these people are very good. I'm gonna be so much better than that. Yeah, no, all these people, I was thinking, oh yeah, no, I've got in the bag, and these people aren't prepared. That was like all of them. And then through sales school, I'm like, yep, I got this handled. And then I remember with Emily, she gave me her President's Club thing you get on President's Club to give to the person, She gave me that to me. And she said, I believe in you this summer. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I told her that I want to be top 10. She was like, okay, good, got to work for it. I'm like, sweet.
So
I did.
It was just kind of like a plug and play type summer. You were ready to roll, and you just did it.
I was ready to roll. So my first week on the summer, I didn't know it was so bad. I sold 26 units the whole first week. I had no idea it was bad.
And then,
that's terrible. I did even worse, but that was your first week.
I didn't know that. I was just so oblivious. I was just out there working. I'm like, great. I had fun. I was just, the whole reason I was so good at like the whole first summer is because I didn't know what I was doing. Didn't know how the hell I was doing that. And then twice my first summer, I was the number 1 in the company first year. Like, that was really
cool. 2
cool.
weeks. Nice. Yeah. Get that face on that pace center.
Yeah. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, very much. And I was my last week on my first summer was my best week. There's my, I want to win that
Nice.
from my first summer.
That's cool.
And like, I remember it was cool because it came back to check out. And my face was like everywhere. So that was kind of fun.
Isn't that, it's a trippy feeling when you come back and you're like recognized by people, right? Like when people, it's weird. I feel like, I don't know. It was strange. I mean, especially because like that kind of happened a little bit. And to me, and I relate, I didn't know anybody going in, right? Because I just got recruited so late that I had no clue. I didn't even know what orgs were. When someone was like, whose org were you? And I was like, I don't fucking know. I don't know. This puppy wants my attention. And so so you go from that to like, you go back and it's like, oh, hey, Andres. And you're like, the fuck? It's interesting, isn't it? Like the feeling.
Yeah, definitely.
Is that Chavi or Busi?
This is Chavi.
Okay, I don't know the difference yet.
Okay, so then you go back, and did you feel like you should have gone back? Like, were you excited to go back, or was it something that like someone talked to you, or were you like, I shouldn't, and then you got talked into?
Oh, so the way it went is I remember week 5. Ben had asked me my thoughts about going back. It was pie in the eye week, and I remember because I've got great pictures. I have a video of me pieing fuck, I can't remember her name right now. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Susanna, my best friend on the book field. And I pied her in the eye, and it was amazing. And the thing is, that was the week I got #1 in the world. So I'm like, she's got no chance.
Yeah.
This is poor chick.
She had asked me, my thoughts about coming back, and like, I don't know, I didn't really think about it a ton. And then I wasn't actually asked to come back until like week 10, maybe. And I remember I signed my my EDA in a pool, and it fell into the pool afterwards. It was funny. No.
That's awesome.
Was
Okay,
it an easy yes for you, or what did you
Oh,
do?
it was an yes, yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
how did you progress through your Southwestern career? Was it, you said you had your top experience second summer. Did you have a team? Tell us about how you went into that third summer. Just kind of summarize, I suppose, as much as you can, those summers after
Yeah.
the first.
So I fucking sucked at recruiting. I recruited one person. Can't remember his name. I'm so sorry.
In
Oh,
total?
okay.
Oh, my brain functions now.
Hey man, no,
Hey,
don't worry.
we don't need to press for those details. But it was
Yeah, it's
just one
okay.
person between 2 summers that you were recruiting, right?
Between 2 summers.
And then when you went back, so going into your second summer, you kind of had a better idea what was going on.
Yeah, I did worse recruiting.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So that
Wow.
second summer though, how did you become more of a what was your like thought process going into that second summer? It sounds like you yourself said before you got recruited, you had like this pride issue, you got humbled a little bit, that's what you wanted to do. But then you went and hit your goals, were a top 10 first year.
Yeah.
You also, had your parents do it, and you were watching all these even managers give an approach. You're just like, whatever, What was your mentality going into that second summer?
So my second summer, I remember my dad coached me not to do Southwestern again.
Really?
Oh, interesting.
Really? He told me, he's like, it's kind of because the thing is, once you get out, he told me, he's like, it's kind of like a bubble. You need to go and get an engineering internship. Because I want to get an engineering job. Like, Dad, I'm selling books. Shut up. And so I went in, and I was very confident, of course. And then I was AOL my second summer with Christina Vega. Love her.
Hell yeah.
And so we were AOLs, and we called ourselves the Owls, the AOLs.
Oh my gosh, the owl.
Signal, yes, AOL. And then it was just really good, and because I always wanted to be an OL. I never got a chance, but at least got to be an AOL.
Yeah.
I was hoping to be an OL my third summer, but
Didn't recruit enough people, did you?
Is that what? Is that?
people.
Yeah. Well, that and recruiting is like such a different aspect in Southwestern. It's like almost like a different culture, like a different beast entirely, obviously.
But it's actually what you spend most of your time doing.
Yeah, and we actually the last podcast we just had with Steve and Josh, we were talking about like what really makes you good at Southwestern is not necessarily sales. You can get away with being okay at sales if you recruit a ton of people.
Right.
It's that's something that's really hasn't changed over at least even since I was there, which is not that long ago. But okay, so then you were telling us about the relationship that you had when you were in Southwestern. You want to share about that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that. I'm excited about this. Let's do it.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
Yeah, tell us about how that happened.
150 year. Wait, say it again.
No, just tell us about the whole thing.
Yeah, start from the start.
Start from the start. Yeah. So I was officially in the first openly gay relationship in Southwestern history in about 150 years, which is kind of cool. One of my claims to fame, we beat Alex and Ray.
The hot
But,
light skin
I
couple,
remember-
get out by the hot gay couple. I got you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember it was at GRS2 that David and I met, and we literally stayed up all night, like for 2 nights. Like just like we went on like a walk and we were talking. We got kicked out of the hotel lobby because we were downstairs. Guy just kicked us out, and then we went to bed. And like the next day, we were together in all the meetings, and then he actually changed his flight so we could stay for me.
Okay.
And
Now,
then we
oh, sorry, I have a question.
Keep
So
going.
this was after your GRS2 of your first summer or your second summer?
right after my first.
Okay. Sorry, just trying to get the timeline. Okay, cool.
And this was like in March, going into my second summer.
And do they still do that in NOLA?
No, it was in Chicago.
Oh, hell yeah. I love when they did GRS2 in Chicago. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Good times.
It was
Cool.
amazing. He was amazing. Yeah, so that was fun. I mean, I don't know what more you want me to talk about it.
No, just like
But,
that makes sense. I guess from there, were you guys like, so first of all, like, and this is something that I can't relate to, so I'm curious, just, it's super interesting that you were the first one to do it openly. I'm like, first of all, congratulations. That's pretty cool. Like, that's a cool part of history to be on, as far as, just in general, and then for the company. But like, even like in general, just relationships, when you start having them in Southwestern, they have to be like hush hush at first. Did you feel like it was extra hush hush because of that? Or was it something that you're like very proud to be like, this is so cool that we can be the first, couple to do this and lead by the front and maybe help others, be comfortable doing that? What was that like?
Never ever really hush hush. I mean, we weren't like out here proud, gay pride type thing.
Sure.
It was just we're in a relationship. Everybody knew it. Wasn't a big deal. Yeah, people just knew, hey, they're dating. Not a big
That's
deal.
awesome. That's so cool. I feel like maybe like if you roll back the clocks like even 20 years, there was probably people who were just nervous to share something like that because of the climate, because of the difference in culture. So the fact that you were able to do that comfortably, I think is a pretty cool thing.
I mean, Southwestern's not a very easy place to be gay in.
Okay.
Not like anyone's like harsh on you. It's just not very part of the culture, I guess.
Yeah, it's a heteronormative culture where everybody's, guys and girls.
Exactly. It's funny sitting through Rouse man talk.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
No girls in the summer. I'm like, cool, got it.
That's hilarious. Oh man, I didn't even see for like that. I didn't even think of something like that. How did you feel like sitting through that? It's just like, what the?
I hated it. My first summer, I was like, fuck you. I was like, stop being so patriarchal.
Damn. Shout out to Mark Rao, I guess.
I know, right? My second summer, I was like, okay, fine. Again, it's a thing.
Right.
Wow.
But my first time going through, I was like very pissed off.
Yeah.
But that's such a interesting part of the summer, right? In that when they do that talk, it's
sales school, when they're
okay.
All right, all the ladies go talk with Virgie and Yvette, and all the guys we're gonna talk with Mark Rao and Grant sometimes, but not even.
In a way, it's understandable because I feel like if they didn't do that, like the heterosexual people who would totally like, there would be way more of a problem between.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Virgie. So it's funny with her. Virgie always has a thing where she puts her hand on your leg, and you're having PCs with her. Every PC between for me and David, every gay person's always like, "Have you considered? There's a nice girl out there just waiting for you to meet them. Like, Virgie, I'm gay."
Oh.
Shit. Her, but like, she was always pushing me. Like, Virgie, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's not what I need to hear. Sorry about that.
You need to recruit for your personal team, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
I remember having similar conversations with Yvette, and I was like, yeah, I'm struggling to find a girlfriend. Not because I'm gay, but because it's just I was alone in Omaha and all the book chicks were in other parts of the country. But yeah,
No,
it's kind of awkward to talk with your DSM about that, isn't it?
How you to find a girlfriend if you were gay?
Yeah, it's just interesting that, like, to me, I don't know, ever since I was in Southwestern, I just remember when they talked about like relationships in the book field and how to like to be a no-no. Like for me, my DSM was Grant and Yvette, and they were really good at being friends and professionals, but like within our org, within Force, there was people who were, very interested in, and myself included, I'm not excluded. Like there was a lot of interest all over the place. And so the relationships are tried to be like shut down. But at the same time, you get things like my brother and his wife who ended up like, married, and now they're having a baby, and you got like the Bucks and the Qs and people who like did do it successfully. And I feel like if they didn't make such a big deal about not trying to be with other people, then I feel like it'd be a normal thing to just be coworkers, and the people that would you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like it's kind of like telling someone not to do something, and it's like more the reason to do it, same thing. So then going into that, having the first openly gay relationship, was that something that then happened? Because you said, who are the other two? I don't know the other two people that are really
Alex Behrman and Ray Flores.
Okay, so how
together? I don't think so.
Okay, but that was another openly. They're lesbian. They're two. Okay, cool. So and then were you aware of anybody else who were like decided like maybe that you might have encouraged and said that they also came out and were like, this is we've been dating forever, or were you just the only one right away?
I mean, I don't know of any others when I was in there dating.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, maybe there are, maybe there's not. I'm not really involved with it anymore.
That's interesting. Okay, so then let's walk through then the going into the big one, the big story that you were telling us about with your third summer and why you left Southwestern and like how that went. Tell us the story about what happened with that, with your stroke and all that stuff.
You want me to do that? Because that's like an outline conversation. I thought you were saving it for that. I have a lot more stuff that I can talk.
Oh, sure. I mean, because you said that one takes a while, right?
That one takes like an hour.
Cool. Let's dig into that, and then if you have like really cool pony stories at the end, and we'll share those at the end. But I'm interested in this one because this is like
good stuff. Yeah. Oh my god.
Nick, make sure you comment on the Facebook group and say that this is where this crazy story happens, because if this takes a while, I want to hear. I just don't want to start this later and have it to be like, oh crap, I need to go, or one of us needs to go, and then it gets cut short. I want the meat and potatoes of this thing. And
I want the meat in the middle. Okay, but it just kind of peaked in the middle. Yeah. So from the start, third summer shit. Yeah. I'm used to my second summer. It was great. I was still a little afraid to come to my third summer because of what I'd heard. People's third summers. No, David, Ben didn't have the best great summers. Third summers. And then, my first week, my third summer was shit. I went to Loudoun County and did not do well there. So then.
Loudoun County where?
Loudoun County, Virginia.
Oh, in Virginia. Okay.
That's where everyone in DC lives.
Oh.
So it's very, very, very expensive. Well, very few people do that. That's where Shane Blick sold the most, and then
like 9,000 units.
Yeah, they created 9,000 units in Loudoun County. So
you sold over Shane?
No, this was a couple years later. But
that's what he means by that. Yeah, he sold over his old territory.
Yes, and it was like a different section of the county, but
okay,
pretty big county. But no one had sold in my school district like ever in a while. Then it did not work, so I was like, okay, new turf. I switched turfs like 3 or 4 times my third summer. Another. Okay. So then I switched to what town? Because we had lived in Culpeper, but I did not want to work in Culpeper because it's like podunk hillbillies, and I'm like, no, I sell in the city. That's it. I just not want to sell in the country at all. I knew I was bad at it. So I kept searching around for like 2 more weeks. I sold in like a neighboring county. For like a day, I sold in Fauquier County for a day, and then I got kicked out towards the end of that. That's a county where Victoria Hartman got a ticket for selling, for summer. And then yeah, so in the end, I started selling Cultivar in the country, and I'm like, okay, I hate this, whatever. And then so I worked in the country area a little bit, and I started to move a little bit towards the northern side here. So this is how I do stuff. I visualize it. I literally visualize my entire summers, week by week.
All right, then watch this. We're gonna share my screen.
So we can see the territory. Oh,
yeah. So this is Culpeper right here. You got Washington, D.C. and all that. So you were selling right here, like an hour or two away from Washington, D.C., it looks like?
No,
right?
like 30 minutes.
Okay, 30 minutes. That's a quick drive.
This is like 30 minutes left, so it's like an hour.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a trippy. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and then so I go in the upper part of the county because who I talked with, I think it was Kevin. I'd sold in the southern part to top, so I started in the top to down. So I sold in the part that he hadn't, and then yeah, and then I was like, it was not going super well. I didn't know what I was. I remember in the summer multiple times. I had a couple times where I just could not enunciate words, but I did not know why. I just like kind of like cotton mouth, you know. But I just like had to very much focus on over enunciating, like 2 or 3 times. Yeah, and then I remember I lost $100. No, $1,000 that summer. I just
kind of happened to lose money.
Yeah, well, it was in I kept my money into my little package thing, you know, and I lost that. That sucked. And then whenever I started working the city part of it, I felt a lot more natural, connected. And then that was a couple weeks. I only did about a month, 4 weeks in the city because I ran out of city. And then when I started to go back to the country, that's when all my bad PR started happening based on stuff that was in the city. So I had bad PR every summer. My first summer, everyone hated me the entire summer. I remember one mom answered the door and she said, "Oh, I know who you are. Yeah, I just recommend you leave Raleigh, North Carolina because nobody wants you here." Nobody. And I have other stories from my first summer floor that tell them PR based.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask, do you want me to keep jumping around or just
sure?
No, let's stay with this stroke story, please.
Okay, fine.
I'm focused on that.
Yeah, then we can go back to it. I can talk about PR. Anyway, so yeah, so I started getting the cops calling me twice a day when I was in the country because people started thinking, well, one woman said she thought that I was drunk at her house because I tripped on my way out and I had someone following me. Another woman, I referral, but it did not go that well, and she was did not go well. Anyway, so I got really bad PR. Had to leave the county at the end of my summer to another county that I only sold in for 3 days before I had my stroke. So I didn't sell anything in that new county, but it was funny. I did meet my first person. I knocked on the doors. They were actually new. So the city I was selling inside of, the band director of the high school was actually my friend from OU, who graduated with a music education degree. So it was crazy that she just happened to be from that town, and she's now back to the band director, Julie Sackler.
Did you know that before?
What?
So you knew that summer that you had a connection out there?
Well, I had no idea.
Oh, so you just happened upon this person?
Yeah, I just happened upon it. Yeah, all the way from Oklahoma.
That's so wild.
Yeah, and then I remember my third day that was selling there. I I just didn't know what was up. But I remember I was just so tired because it was hot. It was a good like 100 race. And that Sunday before I'd asked DJ, Dianetta, like what's some coaching around not overheating in the summer? She's like, sometimes you go to bathroom, just water in your face to cool off. So I tried that a couple times. Still so hot. I remember I saw a kiddie pool. I rolled around in the kiddie pool. There's some water in it. It was just so hot. And I just kind of felt, lethargic, not that great, whatever. I was so confused. But I remember I knocked on one mom's door at around 4 o'clock that day. And before that, it was a little weird. I felt a little hazy. Now looking back, I can see the signs of it, but I remember I was at the door and she just stops me. She's like, are you drunk right now? I'm like, no. But the thing is, I was slurring my speech so badly that if, a 20-something-year-old knocked on your door, you assume they're drunk, not having a stroke.
Right.
But I just thought I was tired. And so I remember I called Virgie. And I said, I don't know what's up. And she was like, okay, just finish the day. We'll deal with this tomorrow. So I set up a follow day with Victoria Hartman, who had always wanted to follow for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she was number 2 her first summer. So we really connected for summers afterwards. And she was selling in Roanoke. So, and all the way on the other side of Virginia. So I just finished the day, like Virgie told me to. And then I remember I was driving home because I was an hour away from my HQ and my turf. It took me 2 hours to get home. No idea why. I do remember I filled up my air in my tire, but that was it. That was like a 20-minute stop. But it was just tired. I don't know. So the next day, I remember waking up, first one in the shower. Then I waited, got ready slowly. So my roommates went out to breakfast, and then I went back to bed.
Wow.
Yeah, because I was like, I guess I just didn't get enough sleep yesterday. So I slept for like another 2 hours, and then I went to follow Victoria because I was thinking, it doesn't really matter when you get to follow, whatever. So it's 3 hours away. If you want to show the map again, it's the opposite side of Virginia.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So I remember I get in the car, just driving like normal, and I call a couple people. I found out later that they were like, what the heck was going on? I didn't know anything was wrong. But it took me 5 hours to get to her.
Wow.
And the second I got to her, she's like, I knew something was up, something serious. So I slept in the back of her car throughout the day, and she told me, she's like, the guy I'm staying with, he's a neurologist, so it'll be fine. I don't think anything serious. I never got to see her host dad. But I spent the night, and then the very next day, I go to an urgent care, and I'm at the urgent care, and the guy's like, sorry, I can't do anything for you. You just need to go to the hospital right down the street because you need to have tests performed that I cannot do here. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I drove down the street to Roanoke Memorial Hospital, the #1 heart hospital in Virginia, thankfully. And I'm there, and they, I wait 5 hours, and I do a couple scans in the middle, and they immediately admit me. I'm like, I don't know what's up. Wow. So and I called some people. I remember I called Kate Wright. I remember I called some other people about it. I'm like, I don't know what's up, but I'm at the hospital. And then I remember they finally put me in the room. I remember I ordered pizza, whatever. And then very shortly, both my parents flew out like within a day, 2 days. And my dad's there, my mom's there. And I remember I was telling them, because they're not together, like, I texted them, like, please don't make this a big thing. Guys, I'm like in the hospital, don't,
Right.
fight with each other. I come to find out that was the last time my dad talked to my mom. He's one.
Wow.
Anyway, whenever he told her that I had a stroke. So they do it. They have a ton of tests. And they say, so 2 options. You either had a stroke or you have Lou Gehrig's disease, which is MS.
Mhm.
And I didn't know what Lou Gehrig's was, so I looked it up and I'm like, oh shit, I do not want to have that. So when they told me I had Lou Gehrig's, I'm sorry, that I had a stroke, I said, oh thank God, stroke. Yeah. Yeah, and I've been told, I mean, that's a price buildup right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so they found that I had a PFL in my heart, which is a hole in my heart from birth. Thanks, parents. Cannot catch it. Yeah, so I had a hole in my heart, but that doesn't cause strokes. It only causes strokes if, you know, clot goes through it. So they're like, we have to figure out what the clot is. And they were like, so we can either do the surgery here, or we said I can go to Oklahoma Heart Hospital. And the doctor was like, well, I actually trained the people at Oklahoma Heart Hospital. We were like, okay, cool, we'll let you do it. So he patched up my heart. He showed me the little piece that's in my body now, just like a little cap. Did the surgery, went up through my groin, and then was in there for 5 days, and then I was free to go. And then my mom flew back to Oklahoma. Thought that was it, and that was just a start, you know. Oh my God. Yeah. So, you know, when I was back, you know, first 3 weeks I was back at my mom's house before I went back to college. I met with a couple people. I met with one of my friends who was my favorite teacher from high school. She literally told me how worried she was about me because I was like so like disconnected with what happened. I was like, it wasn't a big deal. But like it was, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I didn't think anything was wrong with me, that I didn't have any issues. I later found out, you know, I was running at my mom's house because David and I were like, he was like, no, you gotta work out. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll work out a little bit. I didn't know I lost my balance. So I keep running and I'm like almost falling over. So I like run faster so I don't fall over. And I later find out that I completely lost my sense of balance. Couldn't even walk downstairs.
What the heck? That's
crazy. On the handles. Yeah. So yeah, because when they told me I was cleared for 12 sessions of physical therapy, I'm like, yeah, I don't need it. No, I needed it. Couldn't even run, couldn't walk downstairs, you know. And, you know, of course I've gained my balance back, but that is quite a journey to experience that. And then other impacts, you know, I play the cello. I have a degree in music composition, but my cello was my instrument, and I lost about 8 years of progress on that.
Yikes!
Yeah. After my stroke, I was playing like I did my second year.
Wow. Now, this it still feels like it's 2020, right? Obviously, it's a brand new year here. This was not last year, like 2020 summer, but the summer of 2019, right? So
right.
you've
Yeah,
been
2020 was easy for me compared to all this.
Yeah, right. So you had like the hardest thing you've ever gone through in the middle of that third summer. You tried to go follow Victoria Hartman. That was when all the red signs were going off, and you got admitted into all this medical stuff. And you know, how many surgeries were there? Was it like one, multiple? Just the one.
Just one. One heart surgery.
Gotcha.
And then you went straight home. So I've never asked this, but where are you from? Where do you live right now? Like, where are you?
I'm in Norman, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. And so then you, after that surgery, you got flown back to Oklahoma?
Mm-hmm.
And then how long did it take before you started like making progress again, or because you went through
relearning all your balance and everything?
Yeah. Well, talk about that journey back.
Therapy. I did the speech therapy. Oh my God, my speech was so bad. We did about 5 of those until my speech therapist was like, how committed are you to recovering? I was like, what does that mean? She's like, I can tell you're not practicing at home. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? Damn. You know, eventually we stopped meeting. So I don't know. But I used up all the 12 sessions of physical therapy. That was it. And then you know, cello wise, I've been recovering for like a year. It was quite funny. I was planning to not take cello lessons that fall because I was pissed off at my professor. I had a really bad semester when I was having what I found out, so I thought before my stroke I was depressed. I didn't know what was wrong. I thought I was depressed. So I actually did a full psychiatric evaluation with David's dad, who's a psychiatrist, and he said, "You're actually not depressed at all. It's not one ounce of depression." I'm like, "Damn it! I want to be depressed so I can have an excuse just to take meds." Because I'm like, "What is going on?"
Right.
He called me that fall after the stroke. He said, "I think you were having mini strokes, TIAs." I was like, "Okay."
Oh, good.
So anyway, so my professor, cello professor, I've had, a full year with him now after, and it's very much nowhere where I was, but it's a lot better now. The hardest thing though about this is in my stroke, I got my degree in music composition. I lost my hearing in my left ear. And I didn't know that until about August. Or no, until September. Because I remember I was listening to a voicemail in my school's medical place, and I put it to my good ear, my good ear with my left ear, couldn't hear anything. I'm like, what the fuck? So I put it to my right ear, and then I can hear it. I'm like, okay, this is weird.
Yeah, that's immediately a telltale sign that nothing's good.
Yes,
That's
that it was actually the surgery that had done that, because anesthesia can sometimes do that. My composition professor told me, he's like, I lost hearing in my left ear after I had surgery on my thyroid, but it came back. And so I was praying, 6 months out, usually that's when it comes back. And I'm so, okay, 6 months, went by and nothing. I was going to sue the hospital for, not disclosing that. And that would have been a big lawsuit if it had any ground. Yeah, no, because I remember before my stroke, I went to get my hearing checked out. We were like, because I was starting to lose my hearing, and I thought it was from a class I was in, which I was in a class where we just listened to for like an hour engines. We were like taking measurements and things like that, and I thought it was maybe that. And the professor was like, nope, there's nothing that could have done that. Just raised decibel levels. Well, yeah, and then I had my hearing checked out, and then I had it checked out by an actual audiologist. And I asked her, I'm like, have you ever had somebody who's lost their hearing from a stroke? She's like, well, I've actually had patients. I'm like, well, damn it. I lost my hearing in my left ear from the strokes. So now I actually have hearing aids. When I lost the left one, fuck.
Oh, no.
Get this, 10 minutes after I did a presentation for class about hearing aids, how expensive they are and why they're not covered by insurance. Not why, but that they're not.
And then you lost it.
As I was walking back to my car.
That's just, man.
So I wonder, because isn't your balance in your ears? Like there's from like that's how you're I wonder if that something fucked up all of that, right? That's why your balance is gone.
Maybe. I mean, that's just kind of
that's connected.
Symptom. Yeah, because that's because I just took a whole class on hearing. It was actually the mechanics of the mechanics of the internal ear was the class.
Yeah.
So we did talk about that at the very end. And the vestibular part of the ear, that's all the balance. It's just where your sense of place. And I don't think it was that. I think it was just so it's just I just lost the hearing at the. It's funny, I've lost the lower ranges. So that was the weird thing about playing cello when I can't hear them that are out of tune. And I'm like trying to match my professor because I can't fully remember my hand positions. And I'm like, sounds in tune. He's like, well, just up a little bit, because
damn,
on tune. Yeah, and then I was in composition lessons. The only class I dropped the entire time through college with Drew was actually my composition lessons.
And so
because that semester after my stroke, I couldn't think of anything. I thought I had lost the ability to compose permanently.
And it's worked its way back, or have you gone back and tried?
That was hard for me, really hard, because I thought I would never fucking compose again for the rest of my life.
Right.
And I'm here, finishing my degree in music composition.
Yeah, so you're doing it.
Comeback story.
You did it.
Well, no, I did all the credits I needed until to graduate. So for like an entire year, it wasn't until 8 months after when I had an idea with my good friend Freya of like, hey, how, because I knew that I generate music more easily when when I'm writing music to words, like setting a poem to text. And I think, and she's a really great poet, she's a violist. So I think, hey, as a graduation present to me, why don't you write me a poem? And as graduation present to you, I will set it to music. And she said, okay, cool. And we settled on doing that. And then she's like, well, why not have it do it for viola and just inspired by the poem, and then I'll play at my master's recital. I'm like, well, I thought about it. How about I write a piece for viola and voice, which is very much not a common instrumentation. So I did. And why am I?
Oh no, we can kind of hear you. You just kind of went into the other place for 10 seconds, and it looks like you're still there.
You went to the upside down.
Yeah.
Put it upside.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
Well, okay. That your friend that the viola composition is just not very common, is what.
So in the summer when I was it's like lagging. Okay. So in the summer when I was working with Heritage, I reached out to Freya and said, do you want to turn this into a song cycle? So throughout this past semester, I've been setting other pieces to music from her. This is like not.
We can hear you just fine. We can actually hear you just fine.
Okay, good.
It's messed up.
Yeah, the video's choppy, but we can hear you.
So you just get the Monet version of me.
Yes, this is great.
Yeah, so I did that for the this semester, composing wise, and I think it's actually a fairly decent piece. And then my friend told me that he wanted to commission somebody because he and Jacob and then his friend Alexis, they're both in the saxophone quartet, and he said both of them want to commission somebody to write a piece for saxophone duo, soprano saxophone. And so we talked about it and I took it on and I completed my soprano saxophone duo piece this semester, which is 5 post-stroke miniatures. So I wrote about my experience after a stroke in music.
That's wild.
For 2 saxophones. So it's really cool.
Cool, man.
Yep.
Damn.
They're gonna publish it on a CD in the next month.
That's awesome.
Really cool, and I will
hell yeah.
add it to
Love
add it to my SoundCloud, my website, anthonyconroy.com, not Conrad.
Not Conrad.
Yeah.
Who put that? I was wondering. I was like,
that was me.
Conroy. Oh, that was Nick. Okay.
That was my bad. Last names are important, so I apologize.
It's okay. It's all good. Dude, that is so cool. That is a comeback story. And it's still coming back. You're still working your way through some stuff. Then that's amazing.
Yeah.
Did you remember your sales talk though?
When I am actually What?
I said, do you remember your sales talk?
I probably could. I don't know. I remember it because I was doing Family Heritage and it's very similar. No, but I'm actually working on a new commission for saxophone as well. It's funny, I'm a cellist and I'm writing a ton of saxophone music. Whatever.
Whatever works. That's so cool.
Yeah, so that was the hard bit. And so the hardest thing after my stroke was the hospital bills because dude, right. I'm over here. I have a full ride to college, planning to graduate college debt free. And life was like, JK, now you have, after 4 different hospitals, $150,000 in medical debt.
Yeah. And did none of your insurance cover any of that? You didn't have any?
No, I didn't really have insurance. I have health share.
Oh, shit.
Well, it's not nothing. I have health share under my parents, which means it's covered, but they pay out about a year later.
Wow.
This doesn't stop debt collectors from fucking.
Yeah, and then that'll hit your credit. Damn, dude, that's crazy.
Well, it actually never did hit my credit because I made a spreadsheet and I started making phone dials to all the debt collectors, all the hospitals, and within 8 months, I had written 97% of it off.
Oh, wow. Well, damn, dude.
Yeah, because I talked with Wright, and she told me, she's like, all these hospital bills are always negotiable, and when you can prove that you don't have any income, they're willing to write it off because they won't obviously get it anyway. But here's the thing that's really hard is whenever dude, I can't even find a job. So hard to find a job when you're hard of hearing because there's nowhere that's accommodating for. Very difficult to find jobs that are accommodating for hearing disabilities. And
Right.
the thing that's hard with hearing aids is either I can't hear to actually function, or I hear too much to function.
Really?
Because what it is because like a restaurant or like a bar, how you can focus your sound.
Right.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You pick up everything.
So hearing aids pick up everything. So I'm like an autistic kid with stimulus overload.
So you hear all the things there.
So
oh damn. That's frustrating.
Any alumni out there who are willing to
Yeah.
work with a hardworking dude
That's right.
who can make it through some setbacks. Yeah, that's no good, man. We hate hearing that, and you definitely have a lot that would help you out in whatever position would allow you to step in, but obviously it's hard nonetheless.
Right.
Are you now?
Yeah,
Personal question: are you still dating David? I don't mean to pry too much, but
no,
that's okay.
No, it's fine. We broke up right after I had the stroke.
Yeah, that's too bad. So you just kind of like
Yeah.
yeah.
Now I'm dating Dayton.
Say that again.
I'm dating someone else now.
Awesome, congratulations. Are you still staying in contact with people from Southwestern? Are you hanging out with any of the people there in Norman?
Yeah. How was the fallout there?
A little bit. Yeah, so that's the one thing that was really hard for me. So, after I had my stroke, I'm over here, like, all my friends are graduated from college, and I very much relied on my friend group to be Southwestern. I was planning to do that my plan was, 6, 7, 8 years. And then suddenly, I didn't even get to do deliveries. It was fucking hard, because all of it are just gone. And Southwestern people are really great when you're in the group, not very good at reaching out when you're not in the group.
Because they're so busy,
Experience. Yeah, exactly. And it's nothing against all of them. I love them. And because when I see them, we're so good friends, but, in the meantime, it's not always thing. And then, of course, after my stroke, so the thing is, my stroke happened the part of the brain where you make good decisions, which means I've made some very, very bad decisions this year after my stroke. One of which cost me about $15,000 that I didn't even have. One of which got me banned from my fraternity. One of which almost gave me HIV. Yeah.
Damn,
So
Anthony.
It's just difficult to deal with the repercussions, because some of the stuff that you don't even are aware that you don't have the ability to, like for example, the fact that you didn't realize you didn't have hearing on your left ear for a while, right? It's just, that's what makes it more difficult. Is like
a full month.
There's stuff that's still affecting you that you might not even realize it hasn't affected you, because you haven't been in a situation where you realize that that's a problem, until it happens and you're like, shit.
Exactly.
That's crazy. I'm sorry to hear that, brother.
Right.
Damn.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is like, I can't make judgment calls. And here's the thing, I definitely had the problem before. I mean, on the book field, my first summer, I remember the very first Sunday meeting. We left, I saw like a guy out there and he needed a ride, and just took him.
The strange story.
Complete stranger. And then here's the thing about that, I didn't just do it once at summer, I did it twice.
So this was your first summer.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah. So the whole making bad decisions has been there's precedent, but now it's just very accentuated.
It was sketchy at best,
like,
but now it's like, whoa.
Yes. So because like here's the thing is I was being scammed out of $15,000 I gave away basically. And I was under so much pressure to meet it, I started to trust people to deposit money on my account, which got me blocked from banking anywhere for 5 years.
Wow.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, so I've luckily found a bank where I can bank at, as long as they don't do a background check because I'm fucked.
Wow.
I'm getting that overturned here. I'm working to get it overturned, but like that sucks.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
I'm here giving my money away when I literally am like, I would have starved if I didn't have the church that made food, which hasn't this semester. But here's the thing: I finally, humbled myself and got on food stamps, and they kind of made my life, so much easier. I mean, money is an issue now.
Yeah.
Right. With the situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's just recovery is not easy after you go through something like this. I'm just hoping very soon because I graduated, like 2 weeks ago, which is great. I did not think I was gonna graduate because in August, thank you. In August, I thought I didn't know a fucking thing in my engineering degree. Not a thing. And I'm like, I'm gonna graduate summa cum laude, and I literally don't know anything. That sucks,
Yeah.
But it was amazing because finally the Disability Resource Center, she put me in contact with somebody who had experience working with stroke victims. First person, and it took about a year to do it. But Taylor, she saved my life because she just gave me the confidence I needed to actually pursue jobs in my field. Because I was through the summer, I worked with Family Heritage, and it's a great company, but I had a personality change kind of after Southwestern and my stroke. I'm just not as very outgoing as I was an introvert. In college, I became an introvert, and I reverted to the introvert side a little bit. So I just don't like sales. I don't.
Oh.
I mean, I am pretty certain I wouldn't have even done Southwestern if I'd had my stroke before.
Yeah.
Right. So,
so what I want to do is engineering. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. And so she gave me the confidence and she told me that, it's also my brain. It's just I don't have ready access to it. And I had to humble myself a lot to push myself way through this whole course that's already really hard. But this professor I did it with is an asshole, and I love him. No, I don't. I hate him. Yeah, and like I'm over here, I'm graduating, gonna graduate. I have a 3.9 GPA, and I'm over here getting 15% on quizzes and 30% on exams. I'm like, oh my God. But I did go to office hours like every week. He told me, he's like, I always award grades based on effort. So I got a C. C's get degrees.
Yeah, they do.
And you graduated. So you graduated with an engineering degree, and with
engineering and music composition.
Music composition. That's like two very.
We lost our friend.
He'll be back hopefully soon.
Oh my gosh.
His connection was getting.
What do we do now, right? It's message, call. What do you think? Maybe his device died.
No, I think his connection just died. He'll probably get back on here shortly.
In
the meantime, we can take this opportunity to get people prepared for maybe tomorrow, and then like some of our guests that are coming up.
His computer just died for no reason. He'll jump back on his phone.
Honestly, got it. So yeah, thanks for messaging me. We can also take this time to pause for break as well. I'm gonna get something to drink, and I should be right back.
I'm stocked up, bro. I got a whole pitcher of liquids here to keep me hydrated.
That's what I did during the Josh podcast, but Josh and Steve podcast.
I'll upload that today, by the way, after this.
Okay. That we're gonna need to do multiple episodes because there was still so much more to talk about with
yeah. I enjoyed what I hopped in on. I saw the last half of it. You already talked 2 hours by the time I showed up.
Yeah, that was so fun. All right, excuse me while he gets back on. Do you want to share about who's coming up?
Yeah, I'll entertain the audience.
Okay.
They haven't been talking to us all episode, but I'll say some things. So yeah, we've got tomorrow Larry Anderson, another individual we've never met before that reached out to us. It's kind of interesting to capture this essence of getting to make a new friend that shared the same culture and context, because it was a cult, right? So Southwestern obviously is this crazy thing to forget. Oh, here comes Anthony. So all these people have been reaching out to us, like Anthony, like Larry, and on Thursday we've got Eliav Cohen. It's fun having people hop in. So if you're a book alumna, or alumnus, do reach out. We love setting these things up. We've got more and more people ready to go because there's a lot of us out here. Anthony, are you back? Can you hear me? Go ahead and chime in whenever you get your situation. Anthony again is chiming in on his phone now because his computer died. Other things. You can see these license plates behind me that I'm very proud of. My third summer I spent in New York. I happened to get my car license plate to expire right in the middle of the summer, and they required me to get a new license plate, so that was fun. Fourth summer was in Vermont. I just rode out as much as I could with this New York license plate, and they're like, "You're not a resident of New York. You need a new license plate." And that was when I was in Vermont. They told me that, so that was fun. And then got to rep the home state, Nebraska. Got some Homer Simpson, live large, rock hard. Here's my college degree. We got Michael Cera and Jonah Hill behind me because we got a super bad poster that I got for $5 at a Goodwill. Man, what's taking Andre so long to come back? This is...
Hey, 1 second.
I don't know. I'm just like struggling here, Andres. Come on. It's a great day.
Back, baby. I'm back.
Great day to be an American. How about that? Someday we'll get a European on our podcast, perhaps.
Yeah, I was talking to Maddie's Pajo. So.
Yeah, I got to get them top producers.
Yeah,
Did he say anything else? I'm going to check.
I don't know. That might be
his computer died. Nothing about the phone.
Okay, so you talked about the next guest, Larry Anderson, and then
Eliav. Then we got a few more.
And then
I was
Jake
like,
and Aubrey
hey.
Bell.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So not tomorrow, but next Sunday, which is actually my birthday, January 10th. We'll have a married couple who met through selling books.
They're engaged.
Oh, okay. They're soon to be married. So Aubrey Bell and Jake Lowe. That's going to be exciting. Yo, what do you think, Andres, about me having a phone call in the middle of that podcast or something like that with Jared Perouse? He was the one who was saying that he knows more context about how I got fired because I had my own context. I was supposed to work with Jared that summer. And so I know we'd be stealing a little bit of the limelight from Jake and Aubrey, but they know Jared as well, being in Eagle Blitz with them. And that would be kind of fun if I could tell my story on my birthday.
I would love to tell your story on your birthday. I think we should have him. Okay, there he is. His phone is having Wi-Fi issues. He'll be back on in 2 minutes. Yeah, I'd want to hear. I want to hear the story. Here's what I would want to do then. In that case, I want to then hear your story on that Sunday on your birthday, and then we should have Jared on as a guest, and then we can turn in a separate episode. But if he wants to phone in, he's more than welcome to phone in.
Yeah, because I feel like if he's watching the podcast live, he can just fill in a little bit of context, and then we can be like, all right, we can hear about the rest of whatever and have his own episode.
It's your birthday, brother. We can do whatever you want.
Yeah. But I love Jake and Aubrey too because they're such friendly, loving people, and
yeah, dude,
I totally want to hear their stories and how they met and fell in love and all those cool things. Florida.
it's exciting. It's exciting that because we have also some guests coming up that we are like Fidos. I just heard back from. He's looking at early February, late February date.
Cool.
Lena Arntz as well. Um, got some. We got some. I can actually pull that up if you don't mind. This is a good opportunity to make these announcements and do some housekeeping things. Also, if you're watching or if you watch this, even if it's not live, make sure you like our page on Facebook, Ponytails Podcast.
Let me share the link in the comments.
Yeah, do that stuff. That's it. That's all good. Okay, so we have. Oh, these are guests already. Okay. We got Pete Burgess also that we need to get on. Dylan Barr is also. Ooh, Dylan's gonna be fun. Those two are gonna be great. Travis Lopez and Nicole Hartman. Austin Souders said he'd be down, and Will Metcher said he'd be down. So those are all people who would be fantastic to have on the podcast as well. Plus, anybody else who messages in and wants to.
Dude, I'm like realizing all of who you're talking about, and it's hitting me like that's an exciting lineup. Fido,
it's a solid
you got
lineup.
Pete Burgess, the Flying Dutchman, as I like to call him, even though he's not Dutch, but he took me up in a plane one time. And
Flying Scotsman.
Yes, the Flying Scotsman. That's right. Thank you. But dude, Billy Metcher, my boy.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
Heck yeah.
Good time. So yeah, if you're listening to this in this intermission here, do make sure that you follow us subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Facebook. We're working to make this a much richer experience as we build viewership as well. So luckily it's been a good we've had a lot of good feedback about this. So it's exciting to be doing this. And so got some good goals for us to do for the podcast for this year. Yeah, looking forward to it. Also, while we're on this break, I wanted to say shout out to Nick for being such a good co-host. You've been super legit at getting us our logo and our technological side of things set up so that we could have a pretty seamless experience throughout this whole thing. So
as much as possible. No problem, Andres.
Yeah, it's been legit. So thanks, Nick. Thank you, Nick, for that as well. So fuck yeah, dude. Did I see you have like your New York plates? That's hilarious.
Yeah, New York, Vermont.
I should have picked up license plates from where I sold. That would have been.
Well, I didn't pick them up. Those were on my freaking cars.
I know,
bro.
but I'm just saying. I know because I was there when you got the Vermont plates.
Yeah,
I was that somewhere that was with you. I'm talking about when we were selling. It would have been cool to just go to the door and be like, "Hey, do you have an old license plate from this?"
That would have been really cool.
Because everybody's got an old license plate. That'd been dope.
Yeah, man. And it's such a great reminder, because it's like it's classy. I love these plates too, because New York is the most iconic plate in the U.S. I think. And then Vermont's just casual, super green. That Green Mountain State.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah. While we're on dead air here, or I guess we're still alive, but as we also wait reintroduction of who we're with, he's hopping back on shortly. Talking to Anthony Conroy. He sold 3 summers, 2017,
2.5.
2.5, yeah, to 2019 till he had a stroke. If you want to hear about his stroke, make sure you go backwards from this. We just heard that story. And he was also in the first openly gay relationship in Southwestern history, which is pretty cool. That history.
Keyword openly. There's probably some messing around that happened in prior years.
Yeah. Very, very true. Very true. But yeah, it's exciting he's also the first guest that we have on here who neither of us knew. He asked us to be on, and that's super exciting because we get to meet new people and completely pick their brains about this experience of selling books. And so he made a giant comeback after a stroke. He was able to get his hearing back. He lost a lot of his memory, a lot of functions. So huge comeback story. So super cool to have him on. He's been insightful on a lot of different aspects that I wasn't aware of. His parents sold books. That must have been a trippy experience. My parents
Yeah,
My
and like you
parents.
call them on Sunday and they kind of know how it goes.
Yeah, how's your Sunday meeting? Oh,
It was all right, and they're like, okay, but like, are you gonna hit your goals this week? Probably not, because you're not gonna work hard. Nah, you're not coming home if you don't. So then he was the top first year, right? It makes
yeah,
me wonder, like, why there's definitely alumni kids that don't do well or even quit. I wonder what their mental is
yeah,
like going through that experience. And
yeah.
Anthony, he was number 7, so he didn't have to worry too much about coming home and feeling like a failure.
Yeah.
You know?
Would you have your kids sell books? Like, would you?
Yeah, I mean, I
If,
I think
would you let them sell books? I guess, or would you? How
absolutely.
would you handle that? How would you handle your kid coming home and like, hey, dad?
This is great. Now we get to interview each other, Andre. So I'll ask you some questions.
Well,
But
Anthony will jump in back here in a sec.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see when he pops in. That's cool. I'm ready and waiting for him with the log, the like that access to let him in if he's in the waiting room. But
Sure.
anyway, I would totally let my kids sell books. I know for a fact that much of your conversation on New Year's Eve was about how it's not a super lucrative opportunity compared to other sales
Mhm.
door-to-door experiences that can teach the same or even better skills, right? So I'm always like, whatever is whatever. No, only SIF deal in absolutes. I'm not going to say my son or daughter has to sell books, or if they come across it, I'm just going to tell them no. It's just whatever. In fact, that's kind of what Anthony was describing. His experience was his dad didn't expect to like deal with his kids selling books. So he was just like, whatever. For
Yeah.
me, if it were to come to it, if depending on like my relationship with Southwestern at that point when I do have a child that is old enough to sell books, a lot's going to happen between now and then. I'll want to do the same kind of due diligence to see what's going on with the company at the time and kind of work through it together. That's kind of how I see it. And if people like Danny are still around, people I can relate to, or, iterations that are within the lineage, I guess I can, kind of pick brains, see what's up. And I, I wouldn't see any major issue with that. Um,
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, I love the skills that I learned, and I recognize that they can be learned elsewhere, but not in the same way, I don't think. Um, I personally like rest my laurels a little bit, not too much, but I do a little bit on the fact that I did sell for 80 hours a week for 4 summers, like
Mhm.
that's something I can look back to and be like, fuck it. I can swallow my emotions and deal with whatever shit I have in whatever part of my life I'm in moving forward after that, because it just kind of gave me this greediness and this ability to withstand whatever life can throw at me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think um, when we were talking with Steve and Josh about it, it is not the most lucrative option. I think that those were good points that they were making, but at the same time, and this is kind of where we got to cut off because Josh was leaving. But I think the conversation was definitely twirling back towards like at the end of the day, though, it was still worth it, right? Like it was still.
Exactly.
I don't think I ever did Southwestern for the money. I'm thinking back on it. I don't think I ever. Um, there's a value in the things learned, right? That can't be quantified financially, but it's definitely worth something. And I think that's where it makes up for the lack of financial opportunity.
Yeah, the relationships, the actual skills, like
Yeah.
the rote memorization, like it's recall, man. Hi, are you the mom of the house? Great. My name's Nick with Southwestern Advantage, and I was talking to all the families in the neighborhood, and I just stopped by for a minute and wanted to talk and see how you're doing, whatever,
Yeah.
Like it just rolls out without trying, which is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, there's that as well to be said about it. If my kids, I mean, this is actually even more of an interesting question: is how long do you think Southwestern will be around?
If they're willing to advance and change. You mean the internship, right? Not just the sister
Yeah.
companies.
The internship, like how long do you think people will be selling books or
I
whatever?
don't think they're
selling
gonna
door
let
to
that
door?
thing die, man. I think it's already been on life support for so long, in terms of that one section of the family of companies. It hasn't been making green in its own. It's been propped up by all the other sister companies for the fact that Southwestern Advantage is such an amazing playground, as we used to call it, a place to build these skills, a place to test out all the different kinds of ways of building a business and selling a product. It's really not unique, but it's just its own beast that creates all this. It feeds the rest of the sister companies, all of these stellar salespeople and business builders, right? So, welcome back, Anthony.
I'm back.
Hey.
On my phone.
Awesome. Well, you're coming in through crystal clear. That's awesome.
Good.
We're just kind of filling the gap here by talking about if we would let our own kids sell books. And I said, yeah, let's do it on a case by case basis. Like your dad, he didn't expect to deal with his son or anyone else selling books, right?
No,
but he was just like, you know what, we'll figure it out together, and said yeah. So that's kind of magic.
Yeah, it's funny. My computer died during my final because we had to do the whole at-home COVID finals.
Yeah.
So I have the camera, and I mean, oh my god, it was crazy.
Oh my,
that would be.
So this is not new territory for you. What were you gonna say, Andres?
No, I was gonna say this could be a good pause could be a good transition into some of these crazy pony stories that I'm waiting to hear from Anthony. So
not just pony stories, but like you were saying, you have some stories of like how you picked up a random stranger from after a Sunday meeting and those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Some of those.
We'll see what comes back to me. See, part of what I found out is I developed dyscalculia and dyslexia, so that makes recall sometimes difficult. I have one pony story I can share at the end. For my first summer, I remember, so the week that I had number one for the first time in my first summer, right before I got a pie in the eye, Susanna, it was right because I remember I'm like seeing it. I went into, I sold in very nice turf my first summer, actually. I actually had a whole, thing of pictures I'd take of the nice shit. I called it nice shit. Like doors like 4 times my size I knocked on. But I remember, it was very, very richy. I remember that I had sold books at one house, and then because I had like a 9:30 appointment with an alumni, or at a 9 o'clock appointment with alumni, I didn't get there until like 10 o'clock. He was like, come in. So I didn't even do the sales talk with him. He was I'll just buy it,
That's hilarious.
I usually do. Yeah.
I never sold or found an alumni the whole time.
Are you serious? How many summers did you? 4?
Yeah, not once.
Depends on the kind of turf you're in. My first summer, I met a lot of alumni. Second summer, I met like maybe 1, 2, 3. No one in my first summer. Third summer.
Yeah, no. I mean, I sold in rich and poor. Nothing.
Well, that's the thing. Think about it, Andres. The New England area was never really a hotbed for recruiting for Southwestern, because even Dan Moore got kicked off campus at Harvard. They all kind of
that doesn't mean people don't end up in New England after they've sold books. Like I don't know.
Unless you got a connection to go out there, there's not many people who would go out there. I mean, unless you're going specifically to the Boston Metro or New York Metro, where you're not knocking on doors to sell kids books. You're in the country, the spread out towns.
I don't know. Anyway, okay, so you had an appointment with alumni 10 p.m. Sorry, that was.
No, it's fine. Yeah, no, I had that one, and it was really good.
What did he buy? Walk us through that one.
What?
What did he buy?
I can't remember. He probably, because here's the thing. I sold what I called the SWAT 5 because it's the core 4 plus the, oh my God, I love the topic source.
Oh, yeah.
I never talked on the topic source because I just sold it. So I did really bad with deliveries because I had already sold them everything.
So you just dropped bombs on.
Oh, I dropped bombs on moms.
Yeah, bombs on moms.
That's violent, dangerous, unethical. How could you?
Well, how it turned out my second summer, I had, oh my God, I lost over 1,000 units to cancellations.
Yeah, I love getting customer after customer after customer, because when I come back, that's when I'm like, all right, you're going to add on, and they always did. I always killed it in deliveries.
Oh, no. Yeah, I always would have. I
No.
would have one bomb a day. I'm really proud of something to add that I'm proud of. I didn't have a 0 day my entire second summer, and I was so close to having a 0 day. I remember I sat down with the family, my last family, at like 9 o'clock appointment, and I'm like, oh, don't do anything because this is the last family, and couldn't tell anything all day because I was like so worried about having a 0 day and keep my streak up. But I never had a 0 day my entire second summer. So I was really proud of that one. Yeah, no, I was someone who never. I would have 22 sit downs my second summer a day and have one customer.
Oh, interesting.
My first summer, I was a self-proclaimed demo whore.
Not a demo king, a demo whore.
Demo whore. I got like 50 sit downs a day. No, sorry, demos a day.
Yeah.
And it was usually fine, but I got really bad PR because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real, check this out. I know. Oh, come on. I need to get my demos, right?
Exactly. I just couldn't read the situation. And then my second summer, I was a sit-down whore.
Yeah.
Because I was really good at sit-downs, but really bad at closing. Yeah, but no, here's the thing is like all the student leaders were under pressure because they can never match my demos. Every single week, I was the top in demos.
Right, because there's demoing everybody.
Exactly.
Right.
I demoed every fucking day. And here's the thing, I've never lied about it. I was just always just demoing.
And so in the first summer you sold in rich territory, where was this at?
Raleigh, North Carolina.
In Raleigh. Okay, sorry. I lose track. Okay, so Raleigh, and because I sold in New England, so it's weird to me when anybody sells anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like when you hear like, oh, I sold in Vermont, it's like, oh, that's weird. It just sounds different, right? And then your second summer you were where?
I was in Culpeper. No, that was third. I was in under Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Michigan, all right.
And I was in. So I switched turfs that summer. I only once though. Is I did about 5 weeks in what was the county? It was a nice county. It was like nice country.
Rich country.
Matawan County, which is nice. And then I did maybe 1,000 units there. And then I had to leave because of PR because what it was is first year was getting really bad PR. I know his name, but I'm blanking on it. You're getting out of this one. Otherwise, I would call you out. He got really bad PR. I mean, he was like knocking through private streets and not doing it well. And then one time, someone wouldn't let him into their house. So he peed on the side of their house. All that. And so they thought it was me. And I remember I was, I remember that no one would. I had the best PR and the worst PR I'd ever had in neighborhoods right next to each other. So in the neighborhood that was good, I literally had a guy right when I entered the neighborhood. He took a picture of me, posted on the neighborhood page, and one mom actually knocked on her door, didn't even approach. She just sat down outside, ready to listen. You know, it was good PR. And then on the other side of the street, no one would sit down with me, and a cop stopped me at the door, and told me I had to leave. All of this, and it was bad PR because he was confusing me with the other guy. And the thing that happened was the girl who had sold there before, she sold a ton of books, but she had really, really bad PR because Matawan School District said that she had been saying that, or they conflated what she said. We say we're not with the school districts. Right. They said that she's saying she's with the school districts and got really bad PR, so no one would see her. So she had to. I mean, it was one of those situations that she delivered books by dropping them off at the door, basically. But yeah, so I was afraid that was going to happen because someone let me know the school said something about me. And that was just, I kind of freaked out, and I told Virgie, I'm like, what should I do? And so the next day I just popped up to the Portage North, because there are Portage North and Portage South. No, not Portage North. I sold in South. My roommate sold in North. But I sold like 3,000 units there in like 6 weeks. So that was a good
What
summer.
summer was this?
Portage,
This
North,
was
South.
the summer or?
Your second summer.
Second summer.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And then my third summer was, of course, the one that was kind of jumping around, but I sold in mostly Culpeper.
Northern Virginia, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. So now let's get into just like singular stories, because you've been thinking about a lot of these singular stories for a good little while. We've talked for like 2 weeks ago. So tell us specifically that one instance or two instances of like those strangers and how you took them home, because you made it seem like something interesting happened. I'm not sure.
Not interesting. I'm just one of those people who gets myself in trouble by being too nice. Yeah, I mean, like the guy just needed a ride, and I was like, okay, yeah, come on, I can just give you a ride across
It was
town.
just like
And
a Sunday meeting, you were leaving, and someone was
yeah,
around, yeah.
exactly. I mean, it wasn't a big deal, and I later found out my host mom was like pissed at me. She was like, "No, you cannot do that," and then I did it again. Because I was driving to the breakfast spot, and the guy was like on the side of the road, and he's like flagged me down. He's like, "I need a ride, just like over here." I was like, "Okay, yeah, just hop in."
When I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question. This is a question that because you're someone that had pretty good success in selling in Southwestern. Brandon Q brought this up, and I've been asking, not at some point I've been mentioning it anyway, that he goes, if you had two people who work just equally as hard, who do you think would sell more? Like what's the other factor that helps you sell, in your opinion? Right? Like he thought it was the fact that like if you're attractive, it definitely helps you. I thought it was like emotional intelligence. What is there something that you think that like gave you when you were like dropping bombs or when you're having like these big days? What do you think is like another factor of success to sell a lot of books?
I mean, it's all your mentality about it. Because I know that first week at PC, David and I broke up that week.
Oh.
And we broke up that day, and then that night he asked me to be his boyfriend again. So
no,
like,
you can't be doing that, David. Come on.
Something like that. Can't remember, but it was during my second summer. Yeah, and then
That's a roller coaster.
A little bit of roller coaster, not like Sundays are supposed to be. And then so those emotions, of course, really kind of propelled me through the week. But then I kind of just visualized the week, I believe it's all visualization, and because like it's so funny because I've often thought back to the day I got 300 units. I don't even know what I was doing differently. It's just like I wasn't even thinking, just like in the zone.
Yep.
Yeah, but I do think a lot of that is in the visualization of it.
What day of the week was that day, that 300 unit day?
It was a Saturday.
It was a Saturday? That's interesting. I had a 275 and it was a Monday. And I don't know, like looking back, I'm like, what the hell happened that Monday?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's interesting. So you're saying visualization. So before you went and did this, so that in case there's like some book kid that's currently a book kid talking or listening and they want to like maybe have an increase in production, what did you think about before you went? Like, were you, because a lot of people go, I just knew I was going to do it. I hate it when they answer that way because it's like, well, yeah, but.
Well, here's what I can tell you that week is I was so disappointed because I was used to selling a lot of units by dropping bombs. And my big thing on my second summer is like, I want to actually have customers because I didn't have any customers. So I remembered I was having multiple customers. I mean, my first day, I had like 5 or 6 customers. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe something. And they were all for very small packages. So I was sitting on like 200 units on that Friday. I'm like, oh, fuck. I was a little pissed off, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna finish the week strong. It's all been just kind of building up to it. Um, but yeah, because I think a lot of it as well was because I had, I think the first time it was the first time I was a new student leader, so it was the first time I was having follow days, and I can tell you, 2 weeks after that, I was followed every single day. So that was fun too.
when you get followed.
What?
When you get followed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I'm just a second year here, and I'm having fourth years following me.
That's awesome.
Exactly. It was great.
Did you, do you think you did anything like unique or particular to you that you had fun with? How did you have fun on the book field?
I sang a lot of the book field.
As a music composer, yeah.
yeah, and I did a little bit of that. I did my first summer we played fun games. They're just normal ones. I loved my favorite game was the one where we had the word of the day.
Yeah.
Play that one? Yeah. I love having them.
My favorite word of the day from Zach Reesberg my first summer was boner jams. And so I'm like demoing my math book. You know when you're like working on your math homework and you're like stuck on it. You just got you got this boner jam. You need to find an example, right? that one was awkward when the lady that I was saying that to just like didn't respond well at all.
Well, here's the thing about it. It wasn't us saying the word; it was them saying the word of the day.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So asking the question so that they said the answer that had the word of the day in it, like helicopter.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I've never done that.
Opposite, yeah.
Oh, like helicopter.
So yeah, I was just getting them to say really weird shit.
What's some other fun things you did?
What else I do?
Did you ever do the bigger and better?
I never did that.
Oh.
I know. What else did I do? I did so much shit.
I always liked like the whole like pretending the first year was mute or whatever. Did you ever do that? You'd have someone calling you and you go, hey, this is Danny and he's a mute and he's been going around talking to all the families here in Lincoln and so, like the Mark Rao talked about it.
Yeah, Mark Rao definitely.
And we did that.
I never did it. No,
I did that with my brother when I it was so funny.
My favorite prank to do on first years is the approach for them or just knocking. Well, now the knocking, it's just knocking on the door and like, hello, my name is Anthony with Southwestern, and Tim here is gonna have something to say to you. Put them on the spot.
Just drop it on them. Yeah, that was so fun. Oh man, it's always a good time. Did you? Okay, so you had the one big pony that you want to tell us about.
Yeah, I can tell you about the bad day.
Tell me about the bad day, and then tell us about the big pony, and then because we're approaching. I think that'll take about half an hour. I'm assuming, give or take.
I don't know if I have that much about it. Remember, I only vaguely remember these things.
Oh, dude, yeah, that's so crazy. That's so crazy that like you forget some of that stuff because of your stroke. That's crazy. I wonder, like,
did I text you anything else I wanted to talk about?
Oh, the shorts. You had the ripped shorts. I saw. I wanted to hear that stuff.
Yes. Do you have that picture you can pull up?
Yeah, maybe Nick can pull it up on his.
I'll have to dig through some.
Tell us about the bad day while he digs through some stuff.
Yeah, no, my first follow day was a Thursday, my first week. And I was the whole time, I was like, why are they not letting me follow? I was kind of pissed off. Later find out it's because it was doing well, not sitting around and crying on the side. I never cried out of 3 summers, which is actually pretty rare.
Oh.
That's pretty good. I cried
every summer.
I was never off schedule. The most off schedule I ever was in my 3rd summer when I really had to pee. And it was like 8 a.m. and I could not find a house to pee in. So I went to I went to a superstore and peed there. That was it. Anyway.
That's crazy. I got off schedule my entire 3rd summer.
Oh no.
Not my entire 3rd summer. But yeah.
And you wonder why that was your worst summer, right? No.
Yeah, no, I know. I don't wonder why. I know why. That's right. Okay,
Your
so
striped shorts.
Yes, those lovely ones.
what
That
happened
happened
there? Tell us what
my
happened.
first day. Yes, so my first follow day with Ben Kessler, and within like the first 30 minutes, that happens, and I'm thinking, oh shit, my pants are fucking ripped. What am I gonna do? So he has a jacket. So he has me tie the jacket around my waist. So I'm just going around with the jacket, hiding it. And here's the thing: is every time he had like, cool mom, had a customer, he's like, Anthony, show her, and I'm like, oh, fine. So I turn around.
That doesn't even make sense why I'd have you do that, but okay.
Exactly, yeah. So I'm basically flashing moms.
And you're like, okay, here we go again, right? That's funny.
Exactly.
So you also talked about how your iPad died on the 4th of July.
Yes, good one. So my iPad died on the 4th of July, my first summer, and I'm thinking this is like a big day.
Time out. Everybody who's listening to this, for the most part, like 95% of the audience right now, whether they're live or later on down the road, they didn't use their iPad at all during the summers, right?
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
this is your order book. This is your maps. This is your everything, right?
It's everything.
You can't work without this. Otherwise, you're just like, for lack of a better term, you're raw dogging the book field in the ways that Andres and I grew up knowing how to do it. But what was that?
Well, yeah, because you're right. My first summer was the first summer they started using iPads, so I never really used paper other than for like a goal period or two where sales driver was kind of fucking up.
Right.
So after my very first house I sold, it was a nice house, and I remember I go down my iPad and it just like crashes. I'm thinking, oh fuck, this is the 4th of July. We go back to every family from the entire summer, and I don't have my maps
or a way to write.
So I'm like,
you got your order book, right? The paper orders.
I do, yeah. I have the paper stuff,
So you were able to.
but I have no map. And then suddenly I was just like in the zone, And I go back to all the neighborhoods in reverse, and I remember every single house that I've talked to them. I specifically remember all the families I can never catch. And I knock on those doors, and I remember the names of the neighbors I had spoken to, whether I sold them or not.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I would like use the names in the neighborhoods, and I ended up, selling I think like 150 or something that day. But I was just like such in the zone. It was really good, and it was the day after my worst day on the book field.
Oh, really?
My first
no
one, yes.
excuses. Getting it done.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, bro. Did you in the summertime when you're like getting into those like zone periods, did you ever like go like a whole day without eating? Do you guys ever have that happen to you? Where you'd be like, oh shit, it's 9:30. I didn't even
That's
stop
been
for lunch.
happening to me a lot.
Oh yeah, totally.
It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling when you still have all your sandwiches at the end of the day. You're like, oh shit, I forgot to eat.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, it's a great day. Great days. Love it. I love it. And then there was another. What was the other thing you sent us? Was there one more?
There's definitely some stories.
Nick has them all pulled up.
You got the chat pulled up here.
I'm just amazed that you came back from like the stroke like that. That's something that would knock a lot of people out, like and keep them down. So your fighting spirit came through.
I do.
Time. That's crazy.
Well, I'm very thankful I had my stroke.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you say that?
I mean, yeah, you can't not answer that question.
Yeah, I was gonna say, tell me more about that.
Tell me more. Yeah, because I feel like, I was out of touch with the things that were really important in life before my stroke. I'm the person who beat my ass to work hard all the time at the expense of my relationships, my family, things like that. I just didn't care. So in the end, I get now 2 degrees that say summa cum laude. Great.
Yeah.
But what did that come at the price of?
A big old price that you're still paying every day.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So it's like, I'm so fucking glad I had a stroke at 22 and didn't have to learn that lesson when things actually matter. And I'm 50, 60 years old, have family, have
Right.
kids,
Right.
you know. If
Mhm.
I lost my hearing from it, take it, whatever. You know,
They
I
lost
believe
a
that's
whole lot
so
more
much
time.
more
Yeah.
powerful to learn that lesson while you still can.
And do you think that your relationship with Southwestern's was good? I mean, how do you look back on your experience with Southwestern? Generally positive or
Um,
negative? Was it neutral kind of?
I mean, I think of it very fondly. I don't think I could do it again if I wanted to, because I realistically I could go and sell books this summer if I wanted to. Well, actually, no. I don't know. We still don't know what caused my stroke, but strokes are induced by heat, and so I'd only be able to sell if it was like in Michigan, Northeast, or something. If I did that, but I don't even know if I want to right now.
Yeah, with your
Interesting.
You know.
intuition, right?
Yeah. No, and that makes sense. That's it's interesting. Do your parents blame Southwestern at all for your stroke, or are they more like this
I
is a freak
mean,
accident? Or
I think, well, because here's the thing: is a lot of people go through their entire lives with a PFO, and it's almost certainly was instigated by the fact I was doing very rigorous stuff. I mean, what we do in Southwestern is so extreme; it's not normal. So the heat and the rigorous exhaustion is just that instigated it. It may have happened otherwise if I didn't do Southwestern,
mm-hmm.
but it certainly did happen because I did Southwestern.
Interesting. Do you think that there's something about Southwestern that they could fix? Because we've asked a lot of people this question, and based on the eras that they sold, they've said some things that have been fixed about Southwestern. But you sold very recently,
Yes.
so what would be a couple of things that you think? Okay, they could probably improve on this side. Not to
Um,
really talk shit about it if you. I mean, I guess it's up to you if you want to, but
no, I'm not going to talk shit. I don't really have shit to talk about. I thought it was really great. One of my biggest things I never liked about Southwestern, I thought there was never, just culturally, never press or, attention given to like well-being, getting hurt, stuff like that. It's always just, work through it, work through it, work through it. In my first summer, I was hurt every single week. I thought I broke a rib for like the middle of the summer. Turns out, it was just I got a hug too big. No, it was during no. I got pushed too hard during rowdy, and it dislocated my rib. And so I actually had to go to a chiropractor every morning for like 2 weeks before I went to work, and I never was late to work. But like, that wasn't good. And then, also my first summer, I had whatever the athletes get. I'm not an athlete, about like their Achilles heels, shin splints, I think, something like that. Anyway, my feet really hurt one day, so I followed Emily. The only follow day I did with her when I was in her car, my feet in a bucket of ice. Well, actually, not just a bucket of ice. It was my feet on her jacket in a bucket of ice. But yeah, no, and that you know, yeah, I just feel like it's always work through it. It'll be okay. Just work through it kind of mentality. And there's not, care given to well-being necessarily. At least my perceptions.
Yeah, some people, I can't remember who said this, but somebody mentioned there's not a lot of like attention towards like mental health.
Oh, not at all.
And just especially like in between summers. I always thought that I just remember, I don't remember who said it, but I remember the thought, and I never put this in the podcast or this comment in the podcast, but it'd be interesting to see what would happen if like they had, like if they hired on like a psychologist or two at the end of the summer, like during checkout, where you can just kind of go and uncheck and unload without judgment. Cause like, I feel like sometimes
they need a whole team of psychologists for that one, not just
one.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but like, or they do this whole thing where you do your shit list, where you like go in and like divulge all the things that you could have done better, times you were off schedule, and that's helpful in a way, but it's not helpful when it's somebody of like a management position, because then you feel like you're letting them down in a way. So I
Right.
feel like it'd be good if there was like this person where it was a completely third party that really had no financial gain from you selling units to
Right.
then that you could just like, hey, like I was not okay, I was out schedule, and they could help you kind of figure out why you're off schedule, and shit, maybe even like make it so that you kind of get that out of the way, and then you kind of realize, oh, it's not that big of a deal, and then coming back isn't as scary or
Yeah,
as
that's
like,
a good point.
you
Yeah.
know.
No, I think that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I think that's something that, because you're right, I had that thought because somebody else had mentioned that there's like no well, I mean there might be, but there's like that it could be improved where the well-being is a lot more valued. um
Yeah.
Part of that comment came from who, see, Victoria Olas, I think, was the one who mentioned that the schedule was too, like, it's too crazy. It's too crazy. Like, it's a little too much on the extra crazy side. And so to have a spot where you could just like do some, have a more still crazy tough schedule, but not like an insanely tough schedule. I think she was mentioned that. So, and it came back to the idea of like having a more time to.
That's what the Europeans already do anyway, you know.
Yeah.
And
it's,
we could go down all the rabbit holes of all the different ways that Southwestern could improve and have opinions about each thing. They're already doing a lot of those things. It sounds like
yeah.
they push back some of the starting hours and allow people to sleep a little bit more. It sounds like.
I think this summer with the Zoom selling that they did at the beginning, it kind of gave them a little bit of a different perspective on like how much they can improve production, and I think it was good for the company overall. But yeah. Anyway, that's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it feeling about that time for the pony?
Yeah, I need to hear the story now. I need to hear this pony story right now.
Okay, well, I'll tell you the horror one, and then I'll tell you the good one.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I remember it was July 3rd, my third summer, and my first summer. What the heck? And I already told you I had a really bad PR.
Yeah.
But I remember I knocked on one door, and I was talking with the dad, approaching him really good, and then I was gonna meet with him, and we were trying to find the time I can come back. And the mom, she starts to reverse out the driveway, and she reverses, and she gets like halfway through. She's like, "No, I know who you are." She's like, "I've heard all about you on Facebook. Get the hell out of the house." She's just like, freaked me out. And I was like, oh shit. So that was just the start of the day. That was like 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Then halfway through the day, I'm going through another part in a different neighborhood, and I hurt my leg really bad. I'm just going through. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then another neighborhood I'm going through, a gated community, but the gates are open. So I had already gone through half of it. Then I go to another house on the other side.
You're like, no,
talk with the dad again, and I leave. And like when I'm pulling out, I hear another mom is like, "No, I know who he is." And she gets up, and it turns out she is the HOA president.
Oh shit!
So she gets in her car and chases me in the neighborhood, and I just keep going to the next house, and I'm up to the door, and I go back, and she follows me, slamming on the horn the entire time, doesn't stop. And I just keep going. So I keep going, and then I go to the next house. Horn? Yeah, just laying on the horn the entire time. And then I go back to her. At one point I talk to her. And she's like, why are you doing this? Nobody likes you. Why are you doing this? You can get like a much better job. You're probably not making any money. Nobody likes you. Just stop doing this. Get out of the neighborhood. Just get out of the neighborhood. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm just doing my job. And I just keep going. And I just kept knocking, going through it, and while she's just slamming on the horn the entire time. And I go to the end of the neighborhood, and one house specifically, he answers the door, and like as I'm approaching, she starts calling from the street, and she's like, "Don't talk to him. Tell him to get out." Kind of crazy. I don't know if anything else happened that day, but yeah, no, it's. Yeah. That was a fun day.
I never had PR stories that crazy.
Yeah,
it's pretty wild.
Pretty intense. I learned you don't share that when you're trying to recruit.
Right?
I did do that once.
Sales school, right? When they're
Yeah, I
already
know, right?
into it.
Anyway, so the good one. So this house was the last customer my whole first summer. I remember I went to his house many times because I remember I can see it. It was like at the top of you went to the neighborhood and then it went up. It was like you had to go back to get to it through like a couple things to get to it, and then you could go up this way. It was never there so many times. I knock, ring the doorbell, camera doorbell. I hate camera doorbells.
Yes.
Well, now new
Got me in so much trouble. One time he answers the doorbell, but he's not home, and he's like, "Okay, yeah, I'd like to listen, but you need to come back when I'm home and my wife's here." All of this, and I think, okay, whatever. So my last customer, I'm literally finished up my deliveries. No, my last customer before deliveries, of course. And I go by his house, and I can't remember if he had set up an appointment or not, but I go there, and I just, I do the whole presentation for his wife. And she, she's like one of those, they're like 60, probably like upper 60s.
older parents.
And it's a nice house, of course. So I do the whole presentation for the kids' books because they're looking for the grandkids.
Oh, right.
And I do the whole thing, and I told them the price is like, at that time it was like $400, $450, something like that. And she's like, okay, yeah, we'll take 4. I'm like, what?
4 sets?
Yeah, 4 full sets.
What the fuck?
A true pony.
I was like, what? And she said, yeah, we got 4 different grandkid families. So
that's badass.
How many units was that?
It was like 125.
That's fun. Did she get some logins for the website?
Shit.
Yeah, she got the websites too.
That's awesome.
For each one.
Wow.
Holy cow.
That's a fun customer. That was your last door of your last?
My last customer for this first summer. So it was a nice way to end the summer.
No
Put
way.
it simply, right? Dang.
We'll take 4. You're here trying to get 1.
Exactly.
And was that the only customer that whole day?
No, I had other ones.
So you had a big day. Damn.
Yeah, it was a fun big day. You remember?
Yeah.
No, I can't. No, I think it was delivery week.
Oh, so like.
Yeah, it was my last delivery is because I went to, and I think I said, well, because the thing is I was delivering all over, and I said, I will come by your house at the end when I finish up on Saturday at like 9 o'clock. He was like, okay, cool. So I remember I had the books in my car to do it. So it was just on the spot.
Did you have enough for 4?
I did.
That's
I think so.
Crazy.
Or something like that. I can't remember exactly how it was, but
we'll take 4.
I was like, what?
We'll take 4 sets. All right, cool. You can have 4 sets.
Crazy how that happens, and Anthony, it's been a pleasure to get to know you, to finish on your first summer on such a high note, finish it with this podcast. It's humbling to get to know your experience of working through a stroke, man. Definitely makes me grateful for my own health, and I wish you all the most health in your lifelong recovery. I mean, probably never going to be the same again, but you've got a damn good attitude, and I appreciate that. I respect that. I admire it. Even the dogs are chiming in how much they love it. So, any final words that you like to share before we put a nice bow on this episode?
I mean, I loved my time at Southwestern. I'm trying to get my sister to sell books.
Okay.
She may or may not. She's not very for anymore. But I know. I have 3 siblings and none of them done it. But yeah, no, I'm very thankful for my time at Southwestern. I think I definitely learned a lot. Definitely would not take it back. yeah, I'm just very thankful for what I learned, and what I went through, and where I've come. And I often do think back to it very fondly. I mean, I had a great time at Southwestern. I was not ready to leave at all,
Yeah,
but
kind of had to though.
yep, just had to.
Well, it's a
Man.
humbling experience for sure. And,
Yeah.
again, anybody listening to this podcast, reach out to Anthony Conroy on Facebook, add him as a friend, send him a message if you want to work with the guy, because it sounds like he's looking for anybody to collaborate with on doing something.
Yep,
So whatever
check
that
out
is.
my website, anthonyconroy.com.
There you go.
That's right.
Learn
Got a
about
shameless plug.
Dude, for sure. Thank you so much. I mean,
Hey, you're
I also
welcome.
want to touch something on like it's a pretty incredible story to come back from something like that. And I think that there's more stuff that in store for you to just kind of discover. And it's just part of the story that you're going to have to tell us about again later in the future. I'll keep in touch with us. I want to hear how your progress is going, and
Sure.
yeah, I hope that you find everything that you're looking for, that you need to find for yourself. And I don't know what that it looks like or what shape that is, but for sure, I do appreciate you coming on here and sharing that story. And it's awesome to hear about your experience with your relationship with Southwestern, and being the first openly gay relationship in the company. That's a cool thing to take with you as well. And so thank you for sharing all that stuff. I really do appreciate
Welcome.
you being on here, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, and thank you for having me. It was an honor.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
man. So much
Well,
fun. So much fun.
Yeah, happy 2021. We got
Yeah.
episode tomorrow, episode
First
Thursday.
episode of the year.
Oh yeah. So yeah, let's go out and all those demons should have been expelled from last year. Maybe we're fresh start. Maybe they're hanging out with us a little more, but just go and make today great, tomorrow great. We'll see y'all in future episodes. So
Yeah. Thank you so much, man.
we need a cool sign out, but we'll see y'all next time.
That's
Have
the
a good one.
show. That's the show.
Adios.
See
Bye.
ya.